Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I thought today that I would make a bit of a longer video of me setting up my sewing space for 2026, little fresh, clean start. And I would also maybe just talk about some of my ins and outs as a creator for 2026. And not just as a creator, more of just like where I'm trying to go, like as a mom, as a sewer, as a pattern maker, as a creator in 2026. This little corner is where I do all of my sewing and most of my filming too, but most of my content creation and my sewing is happening between 8 and 10 p.m. at night because that's when my kids go to bed and then that's when I go to bed. And I've struggled to kind of like fall in love with filming in this space or sewing in this space because obviously the lighting is difficult when I'm in a basement and only at nighttime, which has led to me like procrastinating filming things or being like, oh, I have to wait until the weekend so that I can do it upstairs during the day. But one of my outs for 2026 is being on my phone in front of my kids, even if it's like filming something. Like I'm just trying to do less of that altogether. So we need to make this space pretty and cute and more lighting friendly for making you guys the best tutorials and vlogs and whatever else we're going to make down here. And I want to start with this shelf. I don't think that this is really serving any purpose right now. I would love to be able to tuck my sewing machine back there against the wall, which I currently can't do because of the brackets of this shelf. Also, if that shelf wasn't there, I feel like I could have like a cute little gallery wall moment with some artwork or just some pictures of the kids up there. So let's talk about what I'm doing here on YouTube while I take this shelf off the wall. I'm pretty sure this is just 4 screws, so this should be pretty easy. I don't really want to use a drill while my kids are sleeping, so let's try this. So one of my ins for 2026 is long form content, both like as a creator and as a consumer of content. In 2025, I made a really strong effort to like focus on my TikTok, and I started out the year with 700 followers and then I finished off the year with 14,000. And I'm super grateful for that TikTok community that I built during the year, and I really love being on TikTok. But sometimes I will go on TikTok to like reply to a comment and then I just find myself scrolling every time. I don't even realize I'm doing it and I just want to stop that. I also often find myself editing TikToks and having a 1-second clip and being like, that's too long, like they're gonna lose their attention with 1 second. And I don't want my content to be like that. Like I want to lean more into like my long tutorials, like explaining things in depth and not trying to just be like as quick and speedy to keep everyone's attention. Like I want people to be watching my content to learn something and to like, put it on and sit down and get cozy and have tea, or like put it on with your baby in the morning. And my favorite thing about content creation is actually like making something. Like I get such great like pleasure and pride out of like creating something, especially being on maternity leave. Like being a mom, I feel like is so all consuming, but when I make things, it makes me feel like I'm contributing something to the world other than just parenting my kids. So I definitely will still be active on TikTok, but I'm not going to make it a goal of mine to post every single day. And I'm also just going to focus more on like quality over quantity and intentionality. Like I want people to be like, oh, Liz posted like a sewing tutorial, I'm gonna go watch that, instead of being like, oh, I'm trying to like grab your attention from the For You page as fast as I can, keep you there with all of my energy and fast clips. So I'm not making any like specific goals about like how many videos for YouTube I want to make every week, but I would like to definitely lean more into the long form content. Maybe I should take everything off this shelf before I send it tumbling to the ground. Okay, 1 bracket done.
There's going to be probably huge drywall holes from
That's
them.
fine. That's fine. Thank you.
I think you just leave it like that, to be honest.
So as far as sewing goals for 2026, I released a few patterns in 2025 and I really enjoy the process of pattern making, so I definitely want to do some more of those. I think my first pattern is going to be a like drawstring bag, but one that doesn't have a circular base because I hate sewing circles and I think other beginner sewists do too. So I have this idea to make like a boxy base that still stands up on its own but has like a really simple drawstring, and it could be used for like gift bags or like Christmas bags or anything like that. So I think that's going to be my first pattern, but I also recently did design a boxy pouch. I know there's like 17,000 boxy pouch patterns out there, but this one's the best. Another reason why I want to move to YouTube is because my favorite thing to create in terms of content is tutorials. I feel like I'm limited on other platforms trying to make tutorials because you get like penalized, like the algorithm doesn't push your stuff if it's longer than 3 minutes, and I'm like, okay, well I can't make a tutorial in less than 3 minutes. Like I need to explain things. What is this? Like a little rectangle? I also feel like I like making tutorials because when I'm not on maternity leave, I'm a math teacher by trade. So that was in fact not just 4 screws, but we got it done. The wall is a disgusting mess, but I will patch it up and then repaint it. Okay, welcome back for day 2 of revamping my little sewing corner. I went to Winners today and picked up a few things, and then I also went scavenging around my house to see if I could steal some decor from other rooms. And here's what we ended up with. So first I have a picture of my dog as a puppy. This is Riley. The RQC is Riley's Quilt Company, which is the name of my Etsy shop. So figured it was only right to have a little picture of Riley. Sometimes people message me on Etsy and they're like, oh, hey, Riley. And I'm like, oh, that's my dog's name, but easy misunderstanding. Okay, next I have these fake candles. We actually use these for our wedding because we weren't allowed to have real candles, but I just think these will add a nice little cozy vibe to the ambiance. I just got this fake plant from Winners. I just like that it's very like dangly, and maybe one day I'll replace this with like a real plant, but for now it'll just be a little placeholder and we'll see how it looks. Next at Winners I got this candle warmer, so you don't actually have to light a candle because that kind of freaks me out when I have like sewing stuff going on. Like I just know I'll throw a piece of fabric on top of a lit candle, so this you just like put a little light on, it heats up the candle, and then it smells really nice and you don't actually have to worry about lighting it. And then last I just got this little stool because this desk is too tall for my sewing foot pedal to reach, so I've been using an empty cardboard box to put my foot pedal on, and I feel like this will just help me get more control with my sewing. Okay, let's cue a little elevator music time lapse of me putting this all together, and then I will wrap up with a tutorial for you guys before you head out. I also got these little fairy lights, and I think I'm going to put like little clear thumbtacks along the walls, like maybe around these pictures, and kind of like frame out the photos in some little fairy lights, so we'll see if that works. Yeah, I'm kind of obsessed with that. I think that's like so cozy. That's like exactly the vibe that I'm going for down here. Okay, so now that we have a cozy little sewing space set up, I'm going to finish off my first video with a little tutorial for you guys. But I have been sewing these really cute headbands. They're like kind of like athletic headbands, but if you use like a cuter fabric, you could definitely make them like more of a stylish headband. They're a super quick make, and I'll show you exactly how you can make like whatever width you want and whatever like tightness you want to. Anyways, let's christen our new sewing cozy corner with a little tutorial. Step 1 is to buy some fabric that is stretchy. I'm using a jersey knit. It's like almost like sweatshirt material. It's not like a jersey knit t-shirt, it's like thicker than that. You can truly use whatever material you want, but just like choose something that has a little bit of stretch because you want your headband to have a little bit of stretch. So we are going to take our fabric, and we need a piece that is 18 inches by 6 inches. If you have like a bigger head or you want this to be loose, then maybe do like 19 or 20 inches. And if you want the headband to be like thinner, like this is a very thick one that I'm making, if you want it to be thinner, do like less than 6 inches. If you want it to be like a big fat winter headband, then do like 7 or 8 inches. So I'm just gonna go a little bit. Okay, so we have our rectangle that is 18 by 6. We are going to fold this over the long edge like this. If you have a right sides and a wrong side of fabric, then fold them right sides together. Mine doesn't have right side and wrong side. They're just the exact same on both sides. So it doesn't matter which way I fold, but fold them over right sides together if you have like a printed pattern. Also go ahead and pin all the way along here because stretchy fabric does move quite a bit under your machine. I'm like someone who doesn't pin unless I absolutely have to, but for this project, I definitely pin. Okay, so we're going to take this over to our sewing machine, and we're going to sew like, I don't know, maybe a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way down, but we're going to leave about a 3-inch gap right at the start. Like, so sew a little bit here, gap, then sew the rest all the way down. It's important that your gap is like fairly close to the end seam. Don't put your gap down in the middle, put it like somewhere either at this end or this end, but it has to be like close to the end. I'm also going to do like a little back stitch before and after my gap. Okay, so now we have this big long tube. We're going to turn it right sides out from the gap. So use your gap and just kind of like throw this right sides out. I guess you don't even need your gap to do this. You could just like do it as a tube, but it's easier to do it through the gap. Okay, now we have our tube where the seam is hidden on the inside. So we're going to line up these seam lines together like this and hold them. And we're going to pretend that these are a pair of socks, and we're just going to fold these as if they were a pair of socks. So we're going to go like this and just kind of push the bulk of the headband in there as if it were socks. And then we're still gonna have, because we held onto that seam with this hand, we're gonna have our two end pieces, and they are now right sides together. I'm just gonna pin around the edge a couple here, and we're just going to sew again, a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch or whatever, seam allowance all the way around here to create like our headband. Okay, now this is closed, so we're going to pull this out again and find our gap, and then we're going to pull it right sides out again through the hole. And then we almost have a finished headband with a little hole in it. So we just have to close this and then we're all done. If I was like professional and really cared, I would hand sew this with like a blanket or a ladder stitch, I think it's called, where you just kind of like go like this, and that would close neatly. But I don't really believe in hand sewing. This is going to be at the back of my head anyways, you wouldn't even see it. So I'm just going to use my machine to close this gap up. But if you really wanted a perfect finish, then you could definitely hand sew this. I'm just going to sew from like here to here, close that gap, and then we're done. So I'm just sewing as close to the edge as I can here. And that is it. We are done. And all of our bulky seams, so like that hole that we just sewed shut, and then also like the cross seam where the ends of the headband come together, they're all close together. That's why we left our gap close to the beginning, so that like these bulky seams are all together, and you can just put that part at the back of your head, and then the front of your head, you just have this perfect little athletic headband. If you stuck around this long, thank you so much for being here. And next tutorial that I'm going to do is those mock necks that I've been showing on my TikTok. I really wanted to do like an in-depth tutorial of 2 different ways that you can make a mock neck out of a crew neck. I've made about 5 of them now, so I have like all the tips and tricks on how to make the perfect mock neck. So that will definitely be my next video. Hit subscribe and let me know what else you want to see in the comments. Thank you so much for being here. Bye.